It is a season for Salah festivities, marking this year's Eid al-Kabir, also known as Feast of Sacrifice. While many states have cancelled activities celebrating the religious festival, others observed the congregational prayers, heralding more social events and communal gatherings for one of the longest religious celebrations. With spike in cases, emphasis have been placed on non-pharmaceutical prevention measures for COVID-19. Observing safety protocols are still the best options for checking community spread of the coronavirus pandemic that is on the rise. Are Nigerians complying with caution by the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19, traditional rulers, religious and community leaders, and observing the protocols during Salah celebration as the festival enters peak levels? How can the community be engaged in taking ownership of the fight against the globally surging health concern as we continue to celebrate religious festivals, marriages, and other events compromising social distance, while other safety protocols are also disregarded? This is our focus today on Panorama. I am Abubakar Muhammad Musa. The Muslim faithful across Nigeria, like their counterparts the world over, have been celebrating the Feast of Sacrifice, otherwise referred to as Eid al-Kabir. President Muhammadu Buhari joined other members of the nation's first family to observe the 2-rakat congregational prayer of Thanksgiving at his official residence in line with the COVID-19 safety advisory. The president tasked the nation's armed forces to do much more in keeping Nigeria safe and secure, even as he promised that corrupt elements and institutions will be appropriately dealt with. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu has details.
This is the first time since coming to power, President Muhammadu Buhari is celebrating the Feast of Sacrifice away from the ancient town of Daura, his ancestral home. The president is indeed supporting efforts at curtailing the spread of the ravaging COVID-19. Call it a demonstration of leadership by example. Social distancing was therefore observed as the Nigerian leader, First Lady Aisha Buhari, other members of the First Family, and presidential aides were led in prayers by the Chief Imam of the State House Masjid, Ustaz Abdul Wahid Suleiman. In a khutbah shortly after, the presiding imam admonished the congregation to be much more submissive to Allah and recommit themselves to the highest principles of sacrifice for safety, security, and prosperity of the country, while calling for prayers without ceasing as the only weapon against the darkness dilemma of life, including COVID-19. Ustaz Suleiman also made a case for the Ummah to be peaceful, purposeful, and supportive of the genuine efforts by the Buhari administration towards making life better for all. President Muhammadu Buhari, who later performed the symbolic ram slaughtering in line with the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, tasked Nigerians to be more conscious of their country.
Nigerians know that we have done our best. We want security, prosperity, and the well-being of all Nigerians. What is coming up in Northwest and North Central is very, very disturbing indeed. From the report I'm getting, I believe the military and the police and other law enforcement agencies could do much better. But we are keeping them on the alert all the time to do their duties.
How do you feel about the recent revelations coming out from the EFCC and the Niger Delta Commission?
Well, that's why we put the commission. There has been abuse of trust by people trusted by the previous administration and this administration. They could do much better.
And in the spirit of the season, the First Lady, Aisha Muhammadu Buhari, sends warm felicitations to Nigerians as they mark Eid al-Kabir amidst the coronavirus pandemic.
First Lady of Nigeria, Dr. Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari, is wishing all Nigerians a happy Eid al-Kabir. She called on women particularly to take care of their family against this pandemic. And she prays that God Almighty will bring us to the end of this pandemic very soon so that we go back to normal life as usual. She is also doing a lot in terms of rape, and on her own part, she has already been working to form the next presidential task force on gender-based violence.
President Muhammadu Buhari will not be receiving Salah homages and urge all citizens to observe the occasion as advised by constituted authorities. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Katsina State, Governor Aminu Masari and Emir of Katsina, Abdul Mumin Kabir Usman, are among the thousands of Muslims who observed the Eid al-Kabir prayer at GRA and Kofar Guga Eid al-Kabir praying grounds, respectively, in Katsina. Awal Haliru reports.
At the Modoji Eid ground, Imam Zakaria Aliu Sandamu led the worshippers in the 2 Rak'at congregational prayers. In his sermon, the Imam reminded the congregation on the need to reflect true teachings of Islam in their conduct. He urged the Muslim community to intensify prayers for an end to coronavirus pandemic, considering its devastating effect on the economy and social life. Imam Zakaria Aliu highlighted sincerity of purpose as one of the conditions for supplications to be effective. Governor Aminu Bello Masari, who is among hundreds of worshippers at the Eid ground, used the opportunity to call on people of the state to pray hard for divine intervention to the challenges of banditry, kidnappings, and other crimes.
We as a people, we should also try and purify ourselves so that when we pray to Allah, Allah will always listen to us.
Also, at the Kofar Guga Eid ground in Katsina Metropolis, Emir of Katsina Alhaji Abdul Mumin Kabir Usman and other traditional rulers observed the 2 Rak'at prayers led by Chief Imam of Katsina, Imam Gamba Mustafa. In Katsina, Awal Haliru, NTA News.
Of Zazzau, Alhaji Shehu Idris was joined by thousands of worshippers at the Eid prayer ground to observe the Eid al-Kabir prayer. Muhammad Ibrahim Saliu reports that worshippers adhered to the COVID-19 protocols.
Emir of Zazzau and thousands of Muslim worshippers observe Eid al-Kabir prayer at the Zazzau Emirates Eid ground amid coronavirus pandemic. The COVID-19 protocols were strictly adhered to during the Eid prayers. The Eid prayer was led by the Chief Imam of the Emirates, Sheikh Al-Hatu Qasim, followed by sermon.
The only way to survive peacefully, to get out of all these problems, is to get back to the teachings of the Holy Quran.
This is a great day for every one of us. We always pray to God to give us more years to see it.
Well, my message is for them to continue to live in peace in view of the current situation that we are in.
The Emir also enjoins the public to adhere to recommendations of the NCDC and doctors as coronavirus is real. His Royal Highness Alhaji Dr. Shehu Idris rode back to his palace from Eid prayer without receiving greetings from his people as usual to avoid social gatherings amid coronavirus pandemic. In Zaria, Muhammad Ibrahim Salihu, NTA News.
As at the 31st of July 2020, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control, NCDC, has confirmed 462 new cases of COVID-19, bringing the total number to 43,151. Discharged cases now stands at 19,565, while deaths are 879. A breakdown of the new cases indicates FCT has 93, Lagos 78, Plateau 64, Kaduna 54, Oyo 47, Ondo 32, Adamawa 23, and Bauchi 19. Others are Rivers, Ogun, Delta 9 each, Edo 7, Kano and Enugu 6 each, Nasarawa 5 and Osun 1. Moving on now, Eid al-Kabir is a week-long of festivities featuring animal slaughtering, social and religious gathering, thereby heightening communal interaction among people. With the rising cases of coronavirus pandemic in the country, what measures are in place for compliance with safety protocols to check for the community spread during this period of celebration? Pauline Kujevana sought answers to this.
Sticking to the rules of hygiene practices, social distancing and other safety measures seem to be disregarded by many, despite increasing cases of coronavirus pandemic in Nigeria. While some states canceled Eid grand prayers, some others restricted it to mosques around them, aimed at implementing physical and social distancing measures against the transmission of COVID-19.
As we just observed in the ground of Arafah in Saudi Arabia, the issue of social distancing is there. The issue of washing hands is there. The masks are there. Everything. People are complying just to, to spare their life. So I comply with the guidance and directives given to us in the state.
Wasu garuruwan ma an hana sallar Idi. To alhamdulillah mu namu za a yi sallar Idi to amma mu kiyayi ka'idoji ko dokoki da aka shimfida na kula da lafiya da tsaftace kai da kariya domin addini mu ya nuna mana rigakafi.
Though in Borno State, there was no restriction for the Salah festivities. Preventive measures were adopted by government to minimize the spread of the pandemic through the high-power team of COVID-19.
It is a word of caution to our worshippers within Maiduguri and Borno State. Try as much as possible to use face masks. Hand sanitizers are almost provided. Try as much as possible so that, we keep this city as safe as possible and any other town and villages.
Stakeholders are hoping that since physical distancing may not be achieved in certain circumstances, preventive measures such as wearing of face masks, risk communication and community engagement towards individuals, families and communities will be maintained to halt the spike in the transmission of COVID-19, especially during the Salah festivities. In Maiduguri, Pauline Kujevana, NTA News.
As Muslims the world over mark Eid al-Kabir, the Salah festivities are on. In most places, communal gatherings, family visitations, and exchange of meat as well as food is an important part of the celebration. Despite sustained mobilization and raising community awareness on compliance to COVID-19 safety protocols, not much has been achieved as most people disregard the non-pharmaceutical measure to control spread. How best can we imbibe culture of safety during festive moments like this to prevent further spread of COVID-19? With me in the studio to discuss this issue is the Deputy Director, National Orientation Agency, Borno State, Shatima Jafar Ibrahim Ahmed. Sir, it's a pleasure to have you on Panorama this afternoon.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to meet you and Nigerians also.
Okay. Let's begin. 8 prayers were observed yesterday.
Yes.
From today, the festivities will peak. What is the present level of compliance to the COVID-19 safety protocols?
Thank you. Actually, the festivities will continue up to 3 days. And then, frankly speaking, the level of compliance is not all that encouraging because you can see many of the people praying on the praying grounds are not strictly adhering to the protocols of social distancing, and then the using of face masks is not all that encouraging. But still, prior to that, we were able to see the chief imam, who is also the chairman of Reaching Board, because it's the festivities coming together on the same day, the Eid prayers and the Jumu'ah's prayers at the same day. So we also took the opportunity to meet the Imam Ideni, who also heads all the imams of it across the state. So we encourage them to always tell people that using of masks is very, very important, even though the government has not discouraged people from praying in the praying ground and then the masjids, but still we must use the face cover, otherwise the spread will go on without checking. So at the state level also, the state government has put in place high-powered committee headed by His Excellency the Deputy Governor. They're checking in the influx of people coming in and going out. I think this is one of the most effective measures taken by the state government, because if you allow people coming, because 99% of the cases being reported in Maiduguri are from those coming in to the state. So I think it's highly encouraging to see that people are properly checked, people are properly screened before they're allowed to go into the community. People should also not take the cases of this isolation and all this to be part of a kind of detention or kind of house arrest, but it's something that has to do with your health and the others, because they are trying to avoid the spread of the disease to others. So you can either isolate yourself with the government facilities, or you can isolate yourself in your own house, just to avoid spreading to your immediate family and then to your neighbors. So I think we have to follow this strictly, and then especially during the prayers, we must ensure that our hands are properly washed, and then our areas are clearly given the correct hygiene so that we can pray without spreading the disease. Otherwise, if we allow people to go on like this, the spread will continue, and then without checking, because the disease doesn't show any sign, and they currently that we are talking about now, there is no any specific drug to cure this disease. So the only option we have is to strictly adhere to the protocols given by the federal government through the National Center for Disease Control.
That's true, sir. Okay, how much effort has been put into awareness to get the rural and urban populace accept the reality of the disease and protect themselves, especially at a festive season like this?
Yes, the state director has given instructions to all the officers at the 27 local government areas, because our DG insists that we must meet all the stakeholders, especially the imams, the ulamas, the preachers, and everybody that has a stake in this fight against this COVID-19. So our officers are going around house to house and then community to community, maybe meeting some groups, because the government has put in place that we should not put more than 20 people in a place to discuss issues, either meeting or a kind of training or whatever awareness that we are going to create. We must ensure that a small number of people were gathered in such a place, and then strictly observing the social distancing. So our officers are currently going house to house, ulamas centers and then Islamia centers, to educate people about the reality of the disease, because you must tell them the existence of disease first. They should understand, because most of our ulamas are living without checking the media, without checking the social media and then other means of communicating, because most of them don't use telephones, most of them don't use television and other social media, because you can see most of the complaints are coming from our new generation ulamas that have access to information. So most of our ulamas that are sitting in their houses, they have already isolated themselves. And naturally, they don't go out anywhere except during activities. So these people are clearly incommunicado about this disease that is prevailing within the community. So we must ensure that we have touched them, we have informed them properly, timely, and then without taking much time, because the disease is so real and then is glaring that it affects people and then transmits to people. So
okay, sir. Even though time is not on our side, but we must take this last question. What advice do you have for the Muslim Ummah out there that it is not business as usual as they continue with the celebrations?
Actually, they should always consider, if there is any religious sentiments within it, they should refer to the ulamas, because the ulamas are at the best place to inform us well about the religion and then the activities being given to follow. The instruction given is that we must do some social distance in the masjid. So most of them believe that there is nothing like social distance in the masjid. You are talking about spirituality. You don't have socialized with your God. So this is the belief people have, and then that's why they don't even respect the social distances in masjids. So I think we have to refer to our ulamas so that they can properly tell the people why, the reason why the social distance is encouraged in the masjids.
Okay, we appreciate you so much for being part of Panorama this afternoon.
Thank you once again. To meet you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, and enjoy the rest of the celebration.
Thank you.
That was the Deputy Director, National Orientation Agency, on the need for compliance with COVID-19 protocols. Let's go on a break now. Panorama continues shortly. The world's strong influence in metropolitan transport with a staggering 35,000 on the road daily, moving passengers in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Various concerns relating to indiscipline, lack of compliance to COVID-19 safety protocols, and the need for regulation of tricycle operators, also known as KK Napep, made the Borno state government to conduct a biometric exercise for them. Let's now join Mohammed Ibrahim, who is on standby for an update.
Borno State government just concluded biometric registration of tricycle operators to, among other things, pave way for the enforcement of compliance to protocols against the spread of COVID-19, check lawlessness, and ensure safety of the motoring public. To shed more light on this is the State Commissioner of Transport, Abubakar Tijani. What next after the exercise, and how soon do we expect to see results?
Well, the moment we are through with the exercise, we are going to sectorize the operations of the tricycles into 4 different groups within the Maiduguri Metropolitan Council and its imborons. This is 1. 2, immediately after the exercise, we are going to commence the issuance of rider permit, which will enable the tricycle riders to operate within the state. And 3, we are going to also issue the owners with a certificate to abate any form of stolen properties.
We hear a bill has been passed, Borno State Traffic Management Agency. What do you expect to see when it starts operating?
The Borno State Traffic Management Agency, when it is assented by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Umar Azulum, as presently is awaiting his assent, because the bill has been passed by the State House of Assembly. The moment it is assented to, we are going to commence full implementation of this thing. And once the bill is assented to, it will, 1, take proper care of the traffic management within the state. 2, it will generate a lot of improvement in terms of the IGR of the state. And 3, it will provide job to the idle youths as marshals. These are some of the benefits the passage of the Traffic Management Agency bill will come along with.
Thank you, Commissioner. The deliberate move is to sanitize the operations of tricycle, also known as Keke Napep, concentrated in Maiduguri, the state capital, due to displacement of many communities by the insurgency and are known for flagrant disobedience to law and order. It's back to the studios.
Many thanks to you, Mohammed. And sports is next. Teenage professional golfer Georgia Obo intensifies preparations for Ladies Scottish Open. Ayodeji Makinde has this and more on sports.